What should buyers be reviewing before purchasing a home when it comes to rules from the HOA?
So they should definitely review the declaration and the restrictive covenants because that describes what they are and aren't allowed to do.
Yeah.
Like if somebody wants a chicken coop or like a pergola.
Or if you had a family with young children, they might want to have a play set. You need to find out if that's allowed or not.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
That one.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lawrence Real and Local, Keeping It Real podcast presented to you by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. We're your go-to source for all things real estate in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm Lexie Haskin with Flint Hills Mortgage.
And I'm Campbell Ragan with McGrew Real Estate. Together, we're here to make the journey to home ownership a breeze. Join us as we share insider insights, expert advice, and a dose of fun along the way.
This episode was brought to you by...
Your home should be a safe place, not a source of hidden health issues. I'm Nez with Pure Maintenance of Kansas, bringing the newest solution in mold remediation to Lawrence. If you're dealing with musty odors, past water damage, or unexplained allergies, mold could be the culprit. Our demolition-free technology treats your entire home because mold isn't just where you see it, it's airborne. Breathe easier with Pure Maintenance. Call us today to learn more at 913-379-4518.
Welcome to Lawrence Real and Local, Keeping It Real podcast by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. And we are joined today by Melissa Hickam, and she is an HOA manager with a lot of different associations in town. How many associations do you help out with?
I have 10 HOAs that I manage.
Wow.
8 of them are here in Lawrence. One is in Topeka. One is in Eudora.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So how long have you been doing this?
Quite a
Yeah.
few. Yeah.
Yeah, give us a little bit of background on this.
Sure. I've been managing HOAs for about 12 years. I was a realtor for 15 years. So a little bit of experience kind of in the home industry.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely keeps me busy.
Yeah. How did you just fall into this then? Did you just see a need and you were like, let's do it?
Actually, Westwood Hills is one of the HOAs that I manage. And they were looking for a new management company about 12 years ago. I had a friend, bless her heart, who said, "Oh, we should do that. Probably won't be very much work." Thank you, Suzanne.
Probably won't
Shout
be too
out.
much.
Yeah. No, we had no clue what we were getting into, and ended up that it was more of a job for one person as opposed to 2 people trying to coordinate with each other. So that is kind of how I fell into it.
Was the friend convinced you?
Oh my gosh. The friend has convinced me to do so many things. Yeah.
And I mean, it definitely is more work than you.
Oh, so much.
thought.
There's so much more
Yeah.
involved than I originally had any idea. But
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is an HOA and what does it do? So for people that don't know, HOA, Homeowners Association.
Yes.
and we assume, right, that everybody knows what that is because we're in the industry.
Yeah.
You're a realtor, you're a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And, and I do this, but there are a lot of people who have no clue,
No clue.
Yeah.
what an HOA is. So an HOA basically has 3 defining characteristics. So it is the membership of an HOA is mandatory. It's not like a neighborhood association where you can be involved or you don't need to be. It's automatic once you buy a
Purchase,
home in the HOA. And it has certain association documents that are recorded at the courthouse. And it has lien-based assessments. So, and it's basically the primary purpose of an HOA is to provide kind of threefold, kind of a community, a business, and government.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I definitely think that when you're looking for houses, you need to make sure you know whether the property that you're looking at is in an HOA or not, because that
Correct.
seems to be a problem sometimes.
Yeah.
And once you become the legal owner of a property,
You're not getting out of it.
you're not. You're going to be required to pay the assessments and to abide by the documents.
Yep.
I pulled up a little bit of information. 75.5 million Americans live in 28.2 million housing units, houses or townhomes or whatever, in 365,000 community associations. In Lawrence, it's not as big of a thing as it is on the East and West Coast, Florida, and those places. But there are a lot of people who live in HOAs.
Yeah.
And two, I mean, if you are looking at homes or neighborhoods that have an HOA, let your lender know. Because that does, you do have to have that included in your monthly payment.
Yeah.
So that could affect what you qualify for.
Yes.
But we will not put it in your escrow account, though. So it will not be escrowed, but it will be considered as your qualifying monthly payment that we do account for.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. And when you're looking at homes as a realtor, we need to know whether you prefer one with an HOA, you're open to it, or you're not, because some people say, I don't want to look in an HOA, or some people are like, I want an HOA. So, I mean, there's two sides of it. And so you really need to explain that to somebody and what that means and the implications with it too. So,
and I think maybe part of that, I don't want to live in an HOA, is because of the negative connotations that they have.
Yeah,
and I think if people had more
context,
education about the HOAs, they might not be such the big bad wolf or whatever that people make them out to be.
Absolutely. And that's partly why we have you on here today.
That's good. I'm happy. That's good.
I mean, I am not sure this is even a question or not, but do you want to break down some of those myths or negative connotations that people have about HOAs?
Just, the TV doesn't do that much, does it? Because we have that, I think about that Geico commercial with the little lady who's the HOA manager, I assume, walking around with her little, clipboard. I have a clipboard too, but
honestly, I want to get a clipboard. I'm not even sure what I want it for, but I just want one.
The former teacher in me, clipboards are lovely. They are so helpful.
It is helpful too, so it's, but yes, you think of the person who's going to be policing. And yes, I do go out and do neighborhood inspections and things to check to make sure people are abiding by the restrictive covenants.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the biggest
part
of it. And I guess, there was an episode on Frasier I like to use where he's at his board meeting because he lives in a condo, I think. This is the old Frasier. And, how the people are all just kind of battering around and, just complaining and stuff. I think there's that connotation too. Yeah. And yes, when you get groups of people together, it seems like sometimes people can't get along as well, which is why you have the rules sometimes and the procedures.
Yeah. Because, everybody has different values, things that are important to them. And sometimes those can kind of get in the way of things. Like maybe somebody doesn't want a big 6-foot fence because they like singing in other people's yards. Or I don't know. maybe somebody likes their privacy.
But I think we are all kind of the same too. We all want a safe neighborhood. Yes. We all want our kids to be happy and healthy. I do think in general people
have the same goals.
They do. But you are right. We all come from different backgrounds. And, we all have different ideas sometimes
of what that looks like.
We do.
And how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what is the difference between the restrictive covenants and the bylaws?
So, and I think this is important because lots of times I get questions from people and they're confused. And these are the governing documents that get recorded at the courthouse. So the restrictive covenants are they're called the Declaration, Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. They're commonly referred to as the CC&Rs. So they establish the standards, the restrictions, the obligations in the areas from the Architectural Committee control to, what kind of activities are allowed and not allowed to try and, encourage harmonious living. Mm-hmm. So most of the time people ask me for the bylaws when what they really mean is they want to know about the restrictive covenants.
Interesting.
Because the bylaws basically just regulate the administration and the management of the HOA.
Okay.
Like the requirements for the meetings, voting rights,
Like who the president is, their
Procedures.
treasurer.
right, their
Yeah.
terms, that kind of thing. So I don't think they quite understand
What they're asking
what it
for.
is they're asking for.
Yeah.
So if you're concerned about like the rules and the restrictions and what you have to get permission for and what you don't, you would be asking for the CC&Rs, the
Yeah.
restrictive covenants.
Awesome.
Yeah. But if somebody didn't know necessarily who to contact to get those CC&Rs, then they would need to get the bylaws, or how would they go about even getting that information if they don't even know who to contact?
They would call the county courthouse because those things should all be recorded at the courthouse. And the Register of Deeds, they could help them figure out, if they know the name of the association or whatever, or have some idea of where it is. Yeah. They would be able to help them with that.
So is it often that it will change who is in charge of different things? How often are the bylaws updated? Is it whenever a new president comes in, a treasurer, and how long terms are? Is it just people that live in the neighborhood? Is my question making any sense?
It is making sense. So the restrictive covenants and the bylaws are not updated very often.
It's probably a long process to update, right?
It is.
Okay.
And usually there's a large portion of homeowners who have to vote to approve. And that's done for the reason because you don't want a minority of the homeowners being able to change things, right? You wouldn't want just a new president coming in and saying, oh, we're going to change everything.
That's been working for however long.
Yeah. So, you need usually it's, I don't know, at least 30 or 40% of the homeowners. It just depends. That would be in the bylaws of what you would need to change it. So they don't usually get changed a lot.
So if you're interested in finding that out, you need to ask for the bylaws.
That's right, Ragan. You understand.
If somebody's going to be moving out of their neighborhood, they are the current president. Are they still able to be the president of that HOA?
No, once you don't live in an HOA, you wouldn't be able to be on the board anymore.
So that would be an automatic
So
reelect.
that actually does change quite a bit in most of the homeowners associations that are self-managed. If you have a president or somebody, the board is managing the HOA themselves, then you might have some turnover as far as your contact person or whatever. I guess that's a positive for having an HOA manager like me, who can kind of continue on throughout
Past
the
that,
different boards.
That makes sense.
It's handy for, I know, lenders and things appreciate being able to contact me.
Yeah, like have a person to contact.
Right.
Yeah.
So they know.
Continuous person too
right.
at that. Yeah. That makes sense.
So then when that happens, with the HOAs that you manage, do you help facilitate new people coming in to fill their position?
I can, sure. I help facilitate meetings and things, board meetings, and I help educate the board members on what their different roles can be. A lot of the boards that I work with, the homeowners are quite educated about that kind of things themselves. So it just depends on where they're at as a board.
Yeah.
So when you get brought into the process as an HOA manager, do neighborhoods that are thinking about adding HOAs, are they the ones that, the developer, do they reach out to you about your services, or how does that work?
Both.
Okay.
I have some developers that I am currently working with on some HOAs. So they still have control of the HOA, and they're the ones that have come up with the restrictive covenants and the bylaws and recorded them.
Yeah.
And I'm helping them as they sell their homes.
Okay.
But then, once the developer is done, then they turn the HOA over to the homeowners. Mm-hmm. And I've had several HOAs that I've just come into that maybe they had another management company.
Yeah.
Or maybe they decided that they weren't able to manage it themselves anymore.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they decided to hire somebody. So both situations.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Perfect.
So what should buyers be reviewing before purchasing a home when it comes to rules from the HOA?
So it depends on what kind of things are important to that buyer. And you mentioned something earlier
about like payments and
about
the fence.
Fences.
Yeah.
So they should definitely review the declaration and, the restrictive covenants, right? Mm-hmm. That's important. Because that describes what they are and aren't allowed to do.
Yeah.
Like if somebody wants a chicken coop or like a pergola.
Oh my gosh, you've got
Whoa, you're hitting all the big ones.
The chicken coop. So I mean, if you had like a large family and they had lots of cars, and one of the restrictive covenants was that there's no parking on the street.
Yeah.
That would be an important rule for them to be aware of, because, they're not, that's probably not going to work for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or if you had a family with young children, they might want to have a play set. Mm-hmm. And you need to find out if that's allowed or not.
I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
That one.
Yeah. Or dog owners, they might want fencing.
Yep.
So, but then you have somebody who maybe doesn't want lots of structures, wants kind of a minimalistic,
outdoor space.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they might be more interested in rules that don't allow those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it is important to check the restrictive covenants and see whether it's something that you can live with or not. And lots of times the things that come up, I think, that are the most concerning for people, vehicle parking, fencing, landscaping, what you can and can't do. That you need to get permission from. I think those are some of the big ones.
And kind of going off the pet one too, I know there are different ones that require you to always have your pet on a leash, right? And then I did see one where when I was shopping for a home that I couldn't have a dog that was over 25 pounds.
So, and that poundage thing, that might be more for like a townhome or a condo. Mm-hmm. A lot of the HOAs I manage, they're like single family homes.
Yeah.
So that might not be as a concern. I think there might actually be a city code.
Yeah.
About having to have your dog on a leash or
it
have
was
it
like
under control.
it was like in their yard.
In their common.
Okay. In their common area. Thing.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So you would definitely want to be aware of that before you bought into something like that, so it doesn't come as a big surprise.
Yeah.
How can buyers evaluate whether an HOA is well managed and financially stable?
So the first thing I would suggest is maybe they actually take a physical inspection, drive around the neighborhood and take a look at it, see, how well things are maintained, like the common areas.
Interesting.
And then actually, as you're reading through the CC&Rs, the restrictive covenants, I would take a look and see what the rules allow and what they don't allow. And as you're driving through and doing that inspection, you can see, oh, look, those people have a chicken coop. I thought that wasn't allowed in the restrictive covenant. So then you would have some idea as to whether somebody's actually monitoring
and following
the rules and doing any kind of enforcement.
Yeah.
So, that's part of the physical enforcement of the HOA.
Yeah.
Lots of times potential home buyers call me and ask me questions, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Probably most HOAs aren't going to give out their financial information to potential home buyers.
Yeah.
Other than just like the general cost of what it would be to live
like what the
Yeah.
assessments
Yeah.
are or something.
Yeah.
But they're probably not going to, most of them don't give out like their financials, like a profit and loss and things. But you could ask if they have like a strategic plan for capital improvements.
Okay.
If there's a reserve fund.
Okay.
Because, that's a handy thing to have. You might ask if they're charging any kind of special assessments.
So HOAs can charge special assessments then?
They can.
Okay.
They can.
Good to know.
And
because I've only really seen the city do that with their,
city,
improvements.
does it a lot. And special assessments can show maybe that there wasn't good planning
for a future item that needed done.
So that's where the strategic, capital planning might come in.
That makes sense.
I was thinking, maybe if they worked with a realtor who was familiar
with the area,
with that HOA in particular, that realtor might have some knowledge as to what the reputation of the HOA
definitely.
is in the community. And also you as a realtor might have contact with previous clients that live in that HOA that they might be able to ask some questions to as a resource.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, good points.
Yeah.
That makes sense how you can't just share all the financial things up front. So,
well, I mean, sometimes too, like on the lending side, if it's more like for condos. When we reach out to an HOA, then they will be seeing it. Kind of the financial standpoint, and if it is a stable HOA and what they cover, but that's more from the lending side, not like the buying side.
That makes sense.
And definitely we would share if we needed to for somebody to get a loan
qualify
or something
for it. Yeah.
But I just think a lot of HOAs are kind of reluctant to do that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, you start getting into a lot more there.
Yeah.
So.
A little extra.
Yeah.
So, you go.
Jinx, wow.
You go, girl.
Are there any red flags that buyers should look for when considering, homes in HOA communities? I know that you said, they can go around, and if there are things that aren't being enforced that are in the rules, then, that's probably, to me, that would be a red flag, right? Are there any others, or is that kind of the main one that you see?
That's an important one. I mean, yes, driving around, looking to see how well the homes are maintained.
Yeah.
If there are lots of homes that need to be repainted, if the yards are being maintained properly, if there are weeds, if they're not being mowed.
Yeah.
Lots of clutter around the houses.
Yeah.
Also, a few of the HOAs that I manage have private streets. So, and in Lawrence, you can always tell whether they're private streets or not because the road sign is brown as opposed to green.
Interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. So
I didn't know that meant it was private. I just thought that they're just kind of a fun thing.
No, there's an actual reason behind that.
The different colors.
But so if you're driving around and you see that you have the brown street signs, you might take a look at the streets and see how well those are maintained because those aren't going to be maintained by the city.
Interesting.
So that's another thing.
Good
and
to
just
know.
the common areas. The maintenance. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
I learned something today.
Oh, that's cool.
It
accomplished my goal then.
Well, I mean, you learn a little bit more than that.
but
Yeah,
that
that's
was
good.
fun.
That was like a fun fact.
I've always wondered.
Yeah. Well, I haven't wondered. I seriously just thought it was just a design thing. I was like, kind of like how some of the street signs now have like reflectiveness, They're like, I just thought it was just a,
Design choice.
Yeah, design choice.
Interesting. Nope,
funny.
there's a real reason.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what should homeowners do if they disagree with an HOA decision or a policy?
So this is a kind of a complicated one, but
Yeah.
so it depends, it depends on the different HOA too and what's in the rules.
The bylaws.
Well, no, this would probably be in the restrictive covenants.
Oh, interesting.
So let's go through a scenario of like one of the HOAs that I manage.
Yeah.
So this would be a specific violation or something specifically against them.
Yeah.
So if there's been a decision against them for a violation of the restrictive covenants, Kansas statute law states that there has to be some sort of method to provide a dispute alternative resolution.
Okay. Yep.
So an example of this, one of the HOAs that I work with, has a timeline for how the enforcement will take place. And after a certain time period, so maybe after the second violation notice is sent out, the homeowner would have a certain time period, say like 14 days, to contact the board to ask for a hearing.
Okay.
So they have an opportunity to give their side of it.
Yeah.
So they would give notice to the board that what grounds they're asking for the hearing for, what their basis is for their disagreement, and and any challenging circumstances that might affect their being able to fulfill their obligations. And then the board would hold the hearing and determine whether the violation exists or not and whether the fine should be imposed or not. So there is a method to help resolve that.
Yeah. If somebody wanted to be a part of the board or be involved in the HOA, how would they go about doing that?
And the board's always interested in volunteers because just like every kind of organization, right? There's just never enough volunteers to go around.
Absolutely.
And I think actually the more that you put into being involved with the community, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing. I would suggest maybe the first step would be just to attend the board meetings to see what's going on and see if there's any topics of interest that they might be interested in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That would be the way to start, I think.
So all the board meetings are open to the public then?
Yes.
Public by anyone in the neighborhood that is part of the HOA.
And every board should be having usually at least an annual meeting.
Okay.
Maybe they don't have more than one meeting a year. It just kind of depends on how much of a board you have and how involved they are. Yeah. But most of, and that would be in the bylaws as to how often they have to hold a meeting or such. But yeah, that would be a good way to start. And usually there are committees for an HOA, like the landscape committee, an architectural review committee, social committee.
So that's why you're like, attend one to find out where you would be interested because you can join different aspects.
See what interests you, or you might decide you want to run for the board.
Yeah.
I'd want to be on the social committee.
I can see that.
That sounds like a fun committee to be on.
For you.
One of my HOAs, we have a whiskey club.
Interesting.
I want to go to that.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Mine wouldn't be whiskey. Mine would be wine, but
Well, and I think we actually have another HOA that have drinks in the driveway.
Oh,
that would be fun.
Guys, listen,
there are
some fun sides.
There are fun things that happen in HOAs, community building type things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess this was also kind of going off of this, like how it can have a positive impact. But I mean, an HOA sounds like really it can be whatever the community and the neighborhood wants to make it.
It really can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be all negative. There can be fun activities that go on. Awesome. Neighbors, helping neighbors, getting to know each other. That's the goal of it.
Yeah, I know one HOA, we had some buyers buy in a neighborhood that had an HOA, and they had like a welcome party for them when they moved in. And I was like, that's so sweet to like get to know all your neighbors and everything. So they gave them a little basket and like welcomed them. And
that's lovely.
Yeah. So there are really nice aspects of it.
The old days of like your neighbor bringing you cookies.
Seriously, I know. Yeah. I was like,
or the salt
awesome.
and the wine and the bread. There was, what is it? It's a Wonderful Life. Remember when maybe that's before you guys' time.
I was trying to look at you
they welcome the new neighbors into the neighborhood with the salt and the wine and the bread. But that's,
Like Campbell and I just accidentally showed her age.
Yeah,
that's okay. I just showed mine. That's fine.
That's
good.
Oh my gosh. So how can HOAs impact the resale value of a home?
So if they're managed, well, I think the amenities that an HOA offers, I think that's the real resale value. So lots of HOAs have different amenities. A lot of the HOAs that I manage, they have like the driveways and the sidewalks shoveled for the snow. That was a big one this past year.
Yeah, no joke.
Lawns mowed. So one has a community-wide irrigation system, so the homeowners don't actually have to pay for the water to irrigate. It's paid for by the HOA.
That's kind of nice.
So then it would be paid for like them to come and set the sprinkler up yearly and winterizing it and all of that.
All of that is covered by the HOA.
Nice.
Picture that green grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say year round, but not in
Not
the
year round.
No, not year round.
We live in
Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah.
And you have pools and tennis courts, basketball courts, pickleball courts are pretty popular right now.
Oh.
Walking trails, and security gates in some of them. So lots of them have some pretty nice amenities. And I think that is actually what helps sell the homes in the HOAs.
Yeah.
They tend to usually go pretty fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, if somebody just wanted it like an overall, like if it, for example, a realtor wanted to have a list of different HOAs that have like different amenities, is there a good place for them to just go find that? Or do they have to reach out to people individually or?
There is not a central place for that. Thank you for asking. No, I actually went down to the courthouse when I was first starting because I wanted a list of all the HOAs in Lawrence.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really one. So,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be able to really put that together either, just maybe for the HOAs that I manage,
But
not a central source for that kind of thing.
That is such a good point. Yeah. I was like trying to think through my resources and I was like,
I don't think so.
Well, from when I worked at the title company, there was like a list that we had of HOAs that we had come across over the years.
Okay.
And a lot of times they had contact cards for people to contact.
Right.
So I guess as a real estate agent or even as the HOA management company, if you wanted to figure out different HOAs and wanted to contact people, I mean, I guess you could just
Title company might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Honestly, most days I don't have time to work on that kind of thing because I'm pretty busy.
I believe that.
But that would be maybe a good place to reach out to for local information about HOAs and contact people and that kind of thing.
I mean,
or Melissa, because 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
8 in Lawrence.
Eight in Lawrence, but
Topeka and Eudora. Yeah.
To clear that up at the title company is not going to have a list of amenities. They will have a list of HOAs and contacts that you can contact.
And I could put something together perhaps for the ones that I manage, but I've never done that. So
that'd be a good resource.
Be interesting.
I mean, it'd be a good thing to share with your partners too, and then that way it could help with the resale value of their home.
Absolutely.
That's true. And realtors.
And the negative, connotation behind the HOAs too, of people realizing that there's more than those mean rules sometimes. So I think it would help with that even.
So how often do these fees go up each year? Because something else that people don't realize, HOAs, their dues are different. Some can be paid monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually.
Yeah.
Right.
And they just have different fees. So how would somebody go about that? And is there like an automatic way that
interesting. Yeah, I didn't
they
even think
can
about
set
that.
it up to pay those dues?
That's a good point.
Those are good questions.
Yeah.
So it depends on what the HOA is using the assessments for, right?
Okay.
So if an HOA is assessing so that they can mow the lawns and do the snow removal and have the community-wide irrigation system, sometimes those things go up with inflation.
Yeah. The companies.
So that every year you do a budget for the HOA and you figure out how much it's going to cost to offer the services that the homeowners want or that are required, maybe that have to be offered. And then you figure out, you get bids from those different vendor contractors, and then you figure out how much you need. So they might go up if the amount of services go up. And that does kind of seem to be the way things are going.
Yeah.
Things are increasing
with everything,
in price. So, sometimes they do have to raise the dues. It just depends on what you're offering.
Yeah.
So do they normally send out like a letter then and they're like, hey, we had our annual meeting and dues are going to be going up? I mean, I assume there's some sort of system to alert people of that.
There needs to be some notification.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And yes, after they present the budget to the homeowners, then they would need to alert them as to whether, I think there's a certain time period usually
probably.
that is in the rules, as to when they have to let people know if they're going to increase the dues.
Sorry.
I was going to say, so after reviewing everything, is there ever a point where people are like, maybe this is a lot? Should we cut some of the services that the HOA is offering?
And they certainly could, as long as it's not something that they have to offer, like that's in the rules and regulations.
Mm-hmm.
But if they decided to not landscape for the year because it was too expensive or something, they certainly could cut the expenses. Usually the board decides on that because they're the ones that have kind of been elected by the homeowners.
Yeah.
But you asked about how do people pay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's like online paying.
Okay.
Sometimes people set it up with their banks just to automatically cut a check like every quarter or whatever, because usually the quarters are like January 1st, April 1st, July 1st, and October 1st. So if they know when their payments are due, then they can set that up with their banks just to issue a check. It just,
just depends on their preference
how it's set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Sweet. Well, is there anything you want to leave us with that we haven't covered with HOAs? Or
I just have a really good resource. So I'm a member of the Community Associations Institute, and it's a really good resource for learning about HOAs. And anybody can go on there. There's a section on the website just for information generally, and it's caionline.org.
Perfect.
Sweet.
Can you drop that? Can we drop that in the
I guess I can.
in the section?
I can probably put that in
So
the
people
bio.
can
I think it's a really good,
Yeah.
and I belong, and I think it's a good resource for me too. I'm actually a certified manager of community associations.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this information with
thank
us.
you.
I mean, we told you this when you walked in. You were the person that everybody was like, bring on
Seriously.
for this episode.
Yeah. There was no question.
Yeah, I was like, who should we do for blah, blah? And they're like, Melissa. And I'm like, got it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I answered some questions
You
maybe
did.
that people might have. And if they want to reach out to me, if they have questions about other things, I'd be happy to try and answer.
Wonderful.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thanks to the Lawrence Public Library for letting us use this space as always. But signing out.
Thanks for joining us on Lawrence Real and Local, Keeping It Real podcast. We appreciate our guests taking the time to join us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you've enjoyed today's episode.
For more information, please visit us on the web at www.lawrencerealtor.com. And remember, whether you are buying, selling, or simply dreaming of your future home, we're here to help. Until next time, keep it real
And happy house hunting.